Here's what people need to understand. Your government official are incompetent. It's on purpose. Not because they can't do their job, but it's because that the moment that they actually start being efficient at their job, then that's when the scam starts. Take, for instance, homelessness, right? You have, let's say, so many organizations, so many non-profit organizations that benefit for of the fact that there's so many homelessness. Millions of dollars they get to skim off the top of the government fund. So why on earth would they want homelessness to stop? Look at California. They spent what, $24 billion on homelessness, and there's still more homeless, more than ever. And then recently there has been charges brought up to this nonprofit of this guy, this 31-year-old guy, that were actually just robbed in California and whatnot. And then people act surprised. Look, these government officials are not there to solve any issue. Why do you think that they have such a huge problem with the orange man? Because he's efficient. And being efficient means that, that's less money going towards BS. That's less money going towards the middleman. This is how it works, right? Say that you have a crisis, right? Or you have an issue that needs to be solved. Homelessness, crime, or whatever, right? So then now, this one particular issue, or as many of them, right? Whether it's artificial or conjure up or it's real, then they would take that issue and then they would have, let's say, they would have like so many businesses that actually arrive that would actually come from this crisis. Say, for instance, homelessness. You got to have consultants that's going to talk about the issue on how to solve homelessness. That's a couple of $1 million right there that's going to go towards consulting fees. And then you're going to have the contractors. The contractors now, they're going to be the one that's going to now follow the instructions of these consultants, and they're going to overprice, they're going to overcharge the government. Say a house that's probably would have cost you, let's say, $100,000 now, because the money's coming from the government. Now that same house is going to cost you probably like $200,000 to $300,000, right? And then you also have regulation. Those who work for the regulation companies, they also got to make some money off of the homelessness crisis, because everything has to be regulated, everything has to be stopped, everything has to be delayed. So then the more every time they have to fulfill a regulation, that's money coming out of this project. And before you know it, something that could have easily, let's say, be like, let's say, a shed, and you just convert a shed into a small house or something like that, right? That could have cost you probably like, I don't know, 20 grand or something like that. Before you know it, it's now costing you like $200,000, $300,000. And the funny thing about it, it never gets done. It never gets done. They drag their feet. They drag their feet. And then now, homelessness, it's an epidemic. Same thing with drugs. Same thing with, let's say, crime, right? You have how many people benefit from the crime waves? You have the non-profit programs, the ones that actually telling you that, well, these programs going to help the youth, so they can actually, be able to, job fairs and all the other crap, which they don't teach them anything. A resume, you don't know how to go to Google and see how to prep up a resume. No, you need like a non-profit to show these kids how to create a resume to go for jobs. These kids are making money hustling and stuff like that. You think they're really gonna want to work at McDonald's? Of course not. So they're not gonna. So all they're doing is basically like they take money from the government and they sprinkle a little bit of money towards the cause, and then they pay their bill. And they, so then why on earth would they want crime to stop? So that's why they push so hard. When Trump comes to be like, you know what? Give me 2 weeks with some National Guard. I'm going to show you how quickly this crime stops. No! You can't take my money away from me. No! Why would you do that? No! You are a here. The crime is going down, and then you try to, it's racist. It's racist. Same thing with education. They don't want your kids to be smart. They profit off of dumb people. They don't want your kids to learn how to read. They don't give a damn enough to teach your kids how to read. The parents don't give a damn enough to actually be, to put pressure on the school system for the kids to read. All they want for you to keep throwing money at the problem. And then nothing gets solved. That's why politicians that are efficient, politicians that are actually doing their job get the most hate, because you try to stop the gravy train. You try to stop the problem. If you solve the issue, then what the hell are they going to hustle about? They hate that. So of course, it's not an accident that your elected officials are incompetent. It's on purpose. It's a cycle, right? So they find the cause they're gonna fight about, whether it's crime, whether it's homelessness, whether it's climate change, whatever. And then these people that's gonna get on that grift, they're now gonna sponsor these politicians to run for office. And then now these politicians, once they get to office, they make sure that these contract goes towards the people that actually fund their campaign. And then now they get a little bit off the top. And how they actually clean that money, they get, like, let's say, a book deal. They come up with a book and stuff like that, right? Before you know it, they're, bestsellers book. And then all these books are sitting in a warehouse somewhere. Nobody's really buying these books, but that's a way to actually clean the dirty money. So then that's how politicians that was making, government salary, let's say $100,000, $200,000, and then, but when you look at their bank account, they're worth millions. That's how they make their money. That's how. So it's not by accident that they are incompetent. It's on purpose. So who actually are against politicians that are competent? You have those who are in the union because they benefit from that grift. I mean, hell, if you can actually get a government job where you can be incompetent and not be able to get fired, who wouldn't love this shit? So now you have a guy that's telling you got to do your job or you're going to lose your job. Of course, you're going to be pissed. Education system. You now try to tell kids that you don't need to go to college. You can actually go straight up, get a trade, and actually go to school instead of going to school for like 4 years and waste your time. Obviously, they're not going to like that grift. They're going to be mad at you. They're going to try to make you feel bad about the fact that you don't have a 4-year degree. So they're going to call you uneducated. They're going to call you a whole bunch of names. Meanwhile, they're the one begging the government to pay their bill to fund their student loan over an art degree. Who else who actually are, who hate the fact that, who hate politicians that are competent? You have, let's say, contractors, right? The one that actually, nonprofit organizations. They get millions of dollars a year fighting for a cause that they have no intention of solving. They don't want to solve homelessness. They don't want to solve the crime wave. They don't want anything to do with climate change. The reason why climate change was such a big grift is because, it's a bogus science, right? So then, therefore, they want these things to continue. And then as soon as you have a politician that's actually doing things for the people, who the fuck this nigga think he is? This orange-looking motherfucker? What is wrong with him? And that's how you get all that hate for people that are actually doing their jobs. So yeah, the grift is real. And when the black community or whatever community is actually been in a downward spiral for so long, and then you're like, yo, whatever happened? What happened? You guys been in power for the past 40 years or so. You can't keep blaming the other party when you've been in charge this whole time. But they're going to keep doing that because it still works for the majority of people and those who actually do not think for themselves. And that's how you get the No King protests and people like that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. You know who it is. I'm your host, The Haitian. So share, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out of here. Peace.